Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're jumping right into a book that really shifted how millions think about self-improvement, James Clear's Atomic Habits. We're focusing just on the start of the intro, the first 3 chapters, to really get, the core engine behind it all. And the big question we're tackling is why these tiny, almost trivial changes, why do they end up having such a massive impact down the line?
Yeah, that's the heart of it, isn't it? The whole book hinges on this idea of just 1% improvement every single day. And 1% sounds like, well, almost nothing, noise. But the long-term compounding effect, that's what catches everyone off guard. We tend to look for the big dramatic moments, the breakthroughs, and we just completely overlook the power of these small, steady steps.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I think the author's own story is crucial here, right? This wasn't just theory for him.
Not at all. It came directly from, well, a pretty traumatic experience. James Clear had this accident in high school playing baseball, got hit square in the face with a bat during practice, and it wasn't minor. It was serious, life-threatening even. Nearly ended his athletic ambitions, put him in a coma for a bit.
Wow. Yeah, something like that really forces you back to basics. And the recovery wasn't quick, was it? That seems key.
Exactly. It was slow, painstaking, daily physical therapy, trying to catch up on studies, just bit by tiny bit. He couldn't just leap back into things. He had to rely on small, consistent efforts because he was starting from, well, basically zero. So that whole difficult process, it became his personal laboratory for these ideas about slow, incremental progress.
Which leads nicely into this concept of marginal gains, the compounding effect. It's not just a nice idea. There's math behind it and real-world examples like the British cycling team.
Oh, yeah. The cycling team example is classic. They were pretty average for decades, just okay. Then Dave Brailsford comes in as performance director, and his whole philosophy was what he called the aggregation of marginal gains. He didn't aim for one silver bullet. He looked everywhere for tiny 1% improvements, hundreds of them.
Like what kind of things?
Oh, everything. Slightly more aerodynamic bike seats, yeah, but also things like finding the best pillow for each rider's sleep, painting the inside of the team truck white so they could spot dust easier, testing massage gels, even teaching riders the optimal way to wash their hands to avoid getting sick.
Stuff you wouldn't even think about.
Right. None of it was revolutionary on its own. But add it all up, the combined effect was huge. They went from mediocre to dominating the Tour de France and the Olympics.
And the math Clear uses to illustrate this is really memorable, that 1% a day figure.
It is. Get 1% better each day for a year, and you end up, get this, 37 times better than where you started. 37 times.
That's just staggering.
It really is. And the flip side is just as powerful. If you get 1% worse each day, you basically decline down to almost nothing over a year. It shows that progress and decay, they aren't linear. They compound. And our brains aren't really wired to intuitively grasp that exponential curve in the short term.
Okay, so that number, 37x, it's super motivating. But here's the rub, right? If it's that powerful, why is it so hard to stick with things? Why do most of us give up?
Ah, yes. That's the big hurdle. Claire calls it the plateau of latent potential, or sometimes the valley of disappointment.
The valley of disappointment, I like that. Captures the feeling perfectly.
It does. It's that period where you're putting in the effort, that 1% daily work, but nothing seems to be happening. The results are still accumulating, but they're sort of invisible, below the surface of what you can easily measure or see.
Like going to the gym for 3 weeks, looking in the mirror and seeing, well, basically the same person. And your brain just goes, see? Pointless.
Exactly that. We expect results to be linear. Put in X effort, get Y result immediately. But habit formation doesn't work like that. It's exponential. You have to push through that initial flat part where the effort feels wasted. It requires patience, which is tough in our instant gratification world.
The bamboo analogy he uses makes sense here too.
The bamboo, right. It sits there for years, apparently doing nothing. But underground, it's building this massive root system. Then suddenly, whoosh, it shoots up incredibly fast. But most people would have quit during those quiet years, thinking the seed was dead. They confuse lack of visible progress with lack of any progress.
So if we can't trust the immediate results, what should we focus on then? If the outcome isn't the right metric early on,
you have to shift your focus entirely. Away from the outcome, the goal, and onto the system, the daily process. Clear argues, pretty convincingly I think, that your results are just a lagging indicator of your habits. Your current weight is a lagging measure of your eating habits. Your knowledge is a lagging measure of your learning habits. So if you don't like your results, don't fixate on the results. Fix the system that produced them. Your system is the problem, not necessarily you.
Right. Focus on the process. Trust the system. That's a
Trust
big
that.
mental shift. Okay, let's go even deeper then. The 3 layers of change: results, process, and identity. This felt like the real core.
It absolutely is. He argues most people try to change things at the wrong level. They focus on the results they want. I want to lose 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Or maybe they focus on the process. I'm going to follow this specific diet plan.
Which seems logical.
It does, but Clear says the deepest, most sustainable change happens at the identity level. It's about changing who you fundamentally believe you are.
Okay, but how does that work practically? If I see myself as, say, a procrastinator, how do I just decide I'm not one anymore? It feels like just telling yourself something.
Well, it's not just telling yourself. It's about proving it to yourself. True change, he argues, is identity change.
Yeah.
It comes from the inside out. So instead of saying, I want to quit smoking, which focuses on the outcome, the thing you don't want to do,
Yeah.
the shift is to, I'm not a smoker. That's an identity statement.
Okay.
And here's the crucial link. Your habits become the evidence for that identity. Every time you perform a habit aligned with your desired identity, you're casting a vote for becoming that type of person.
Casting a vote. I like that. So every small action reinforces the belief.
Precisely. Every time someone trying to become healthy chooses water over soda, they cast a vote for, I am a healthy person. Each workout is a vote for, I am an athlete. The habit isn't just about the immediate outcome. It's about embodying the identity. It shifts motivation from extrinsic, hitting a goal, to intrinsic, being the kind of person who does these things. And intrinsic motivation is way more durable.
So the actions shape the belief, and the belief then shapes the actions. It's a feedback loop.
Exactly. It's a two-way street. But how do you start?
Yeah, how do you kickstart it?
2 steps. First, decide the type of person you want to be. Get clear on that identity. What are their principles? How do they act? Second, prove it to yourself with small wins, tiny, concrete actions. If you want to be a writer, the goal isn't write a book. The small win is write 1 sentence today.
Just 1 sentence.
That's 1 sentence, because that action, however small, is undeniable proof. It's a vote cast for the writer identity. It starts building momentum, make it easy to cast those votes.
That connects the why to the how really well. Okay, let's get into the mechanics then. Chapter 3 lays out the habit loop, the nuts and bolts in the brain.
Right, the 4-step cycle that runs constantly, automating our behaviors. It starts with a cue. That's the trigger, the bit of information that predicts a reward.
Like your phone buzzing.
Perfect example. That buzz is the cue. The cue triggers step 2, the craving. This isn't necessarily for the thing itself, but for the change in state it promises.
Ah, okay, so the craving isn't for the phone, but maybe for relief from boredom or connection or information.
Exactly. The craving is the motivational engine. It drives step 3, the response. That's the actual habit you perform, picking up the phone, opening the app. And finally, step 4, the reward. This satisfies the craving. You find out who messaged you, boredom is relieved for a moment, and tells your brain, hey, this loop worked. Remember it for next time.
Cue, craving, response, reward, and if that loop gets repeated enough...
It becomes automatic.
Yeah.
Effortless. A habit. Our brains are wired to automate to save energy.
So understanding that loop gives us the levers to pull, which brings us to the 4 laws of behavior change for building good habits. The real practical takeaway.
Yes, these 4 laws are derived directly from manipulating that loop. Law 1, make the cue obvious.
Put the guitar stand in the middle of the living room, not hidden in the closet.
Exactly, make the trigger unavoidable. Law 2, make the craving attractive. You need to want to do it. Often this involves linking it to something you already desire or enjoy.
Habit stacking, maybe? Like, after I pour my morning coffee existing habit, I will meditate for 1 minute new habit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Or reframing the benefit. Not I have to exercise, but I get to build strength and energy. Make the anticipation appealing.
Okay, law 3.
Make the response easy. This one is huge. Reduce the friction. Lower the barrier to entry as much as possible.
The 2-minute rule fits here, right?
Absolutely. Starting a new habit. It should take less than 2 minutes to do. Want to read more? Don't commit to an hour. Commit to reading 1 page. Or just putting on your running shoes. Make it so easy you can't say no.
People definitely overestimate what they can do consistently, especially at the start. They try to do too much too soon.
For sure. Making it easy is probably the most overlooked aspect when people fail. They make the initial step too hard.
And the final law, law 4.
Make the reward satisfying. This closes the loop and tells your brain it was worthwhile. The problem is, many good habits have delayed rewards. Exercise benefits aren't immediate. Saving money isn't immediately fun.
So you need to engineer immediate satisfaction.
You got it. Find a way to give yourself an immediate win that reinforces the action. Maybe a simple habit tracker where you get the satisfaction of checking a box. Or after you do your 2 minutes of writing, you allow yourself 5 minutes of guilt-free social media. Something immediate to bridge the gap until the long-term rewards kick in. It needs to feel like a win now.
Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. That's a really clear framework. So if we zoom out and summarize these foundational ideas from Atomic Habits, it really boils down to not dismissing the small stuff.
Absolutely. Never, ever underestimate the power of those tiny, consistent 1% gains. They compound relentlessly over time. And shift your focus. Worry less about the big, audacious goal way out there and focus intensely on nailing your daily system. Get the system right, and the results will take care of themselves.
And maybe the deepest layer is realizing that every single tiny habit you do or don't do is actively shaping who you are becoming.
That's the core. You're casting votes for your future self with every small choice. It's about identity formation through action.
So it's not about finding motivation for one massive push. It's about maintaining that quiet consistency, that 1% momentum day in, day out. Consistency beats intensity.
Every time. Which leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. Thinking about the person you aspire to become, that future identity. What's one tiny, ridiculously small 1% habit you could start doing consistently, starting today? Something that casts a vote for that future self. Make it obvious. Make it easy, but 2 minutes easy. And give yourself some immediate satisfaction for doing it. What's that one small step you could take right now?